heaven and her wild-cherry sister, how to realize lesbian eros through partnership with the feminine double. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Okay, so my name is Sandra Golvin, and I'm an LMFT, and I'm speaking here through the auspices of the Institute for Contemporary Iranian Psychoanalysis, which is a institute, really the first of its kind, actually, the first of its kind devoted to theorizing about the psychology of gay people. And I have a branch of it that I'm working on called the Center for Sapphic Psychoanalytic Studies, which is specifically focused on lesbian psychology. And it just feels like the time is right to really have a center where we're focusing on lesbian psychology and how to place lesbian eros and the relationship of a woman to her creative, imaginal life at the center of her existence. And that, you know, we might say that there's a paradigm shift that needs to happen in this general direction. And so this is in support of that paradigm shift. And hoping to bring it about. Now, I by no means have answers here. This is, we're at the very beginning of trying to think about this and trying to feel into the experience of what it means to develop as a lesbian child and grow up and become a full-on, fully actualized in all our total potential lesbian in the sense with our lesbian eros, like absolutely driving the center of our existence. I mean, we just really have no idea because, you know, for a lot of reasons, but we live in a basically heterocentric culture, and there's a lot of obstacles to actually actualizing that full potential. But there's a feeling that psychology is the path, and psychology has the tools for doing that. And so that's what I want to try to offer up here tonight. I want to say that I'm going to introduce you to some specific tools, and one of them has to do is a Jungian idea called active imagination, where you're actually working with the people of the psyche, the inner people of the psyche, and from a gay-centered perspective or lesbian-centered perspective, we call them the kids. And I can feel as I'm here trying to talk about lesbian psychology and lesbian eros, I can feel coming up in me toxic shame, you know, this is something you're not supposed to talk about, terror, fear about kind of repercussions that I've internalized from my family of origin, and then, you know, ongoingly into the world, but to try to speak and conjure the fantastic and incredible beauty and potential of lesbian love is to immediately sort of bring up also what Jung would call the shadow side that wants to attack that and say, you know, you better not say that, you're going to get killed, different things and I can feel it right now, and I feel that as I'm sitting here with you, I have to be struggling with my toxic shame ongoingly to even be here today and to try to talk to you about these ideas, to try to show up with these ideas and really like say like how hot they really are. So I want to, one thing about this idea of the double is that it's it can be a little bit abstract. It can seem a little bit abstract as an idea. So I want to invite you to try to feel into the double. So that's what I'm gonna do in a minute. But first, I just wanted to make sure you got all of these package materials. Ah, my kids are freaking out. Okay. So this is the syllabus. They have to come out. They don't like being like put away. So there are, and I'm going to try to track through the syllabus tonight. Psyche has a way of like sort of having her own agenda and sort of hijacking things as we start talking, but I'm hoping to cover everything that's here. I'm going to try to do it in the order that it's laid out here if it's humanly possible. But it may not be. Or animalistically possible. So, and then I've also given you this, something I've called an idiosyncratic lesbian history. As I was trying to, locate images and stories and myths that really tell the story of what it feels like to be a lesbian and to be centered in the erotic love of women and the desire for women. You may have noticed that if you look around in the world, like you don't see much of that, and that if you learn your history, you don't see much of that. And so I've been trying to locate people from history, women, who I can read into what they've written and what they've said, what feels lesbian to me. Okay, and there's a whole idea that you're not allowed to do that, like that might be offensive to somebody. If in history, if you like read them as lesbian, and you got to be really careful about it, and there's like ideas like that floating around. But I think it's a great honor actually to say to these women, wow, it feels to me like you were a lesbian, you were doing something really powerful out of your lesbian eros. And so I think it's an honoring of them. And I just want to invite you to, if anybody else has, this is like a work in progress, so anybody who wants to add on, like, feel free. Okay. The other thing I noticed about this when I was going through it is there's a lot of like the death of a lot of people at the end of it. And the reason that I have that here is because a lot of these women were alive in our lifetime. And I had no idea. I had no idea. Powerful, important women making culture and creating culture and changing society. And, I had no idea these women were alive in my lifetime. Like, Anna Freud, who died in 1982, relatively recently, who was a lesbian. That's a big secret. So I want to invite you into that. And, okay. So let's feel into, the first thing in the syllabus is an invitation to feel into the double. So what is the double? The double, I want to invite you to sort of close your eyes, and we're going to do a little active imagination here. And the double is basically an inner beloved. The idea, this is an inner beloved. So I want to invite you to close your eyes and feel into remembering either a dream or a real person, somebody from a movie, that conjures for you a feeling of being incredibly and profoundly supported in who you are, at the essence of who you are. And she's a beautiful woman, and you guys are going to have to translate, okay? I'm sorry. But she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. And whatever that means to you, she radiates beauty from the center of her existence. She radiates beauty. When you're around her, you feel incredibly warm. You feel close to her. You feel like there's a sense of profound quality and deep familiarity, like she knows you. She's got your back. She's going to protect you no matter what happens. She wants you to be you. She's a powerful woman. She's got the feminine in her, but she's really, really strong in her inner self. And you feel like your fate is bound up with her. When you see her, you come alive at the core of your being. Great, great, great joy in her presence. And now I'm going to read you now from a quote from Helen Keller talking about her feelings about Annie Sullivan. She says, "At the beginning, I was only a little mass of possibilities. It was my teacher who unfolded and developed them. When she came, everything about me breathed of love and joy and was full of meaning. She has never since let pass an opportunity to point out the beauty that is in everything, nor has she ceased trying in thought and action and example to make my life sweet and useful. My teacher is so near to me that I scarcely think of myself apart from her. How much of my delight in all beautiful things is innate, and how much is due to her influence I can never tell. I feel that her being is inseparable from my own, and that the footsteps of my life are in hers. All the best of me belongs to her. There is not a talent or an aspiration or a joy in me that has not been awakened by her loving touch." So, I invite you to come back. And I want to invite you, as the rest of this evening goes on, to sort of stay with that feeling, whatever that was. And whatever resistances may come up to actually entering that space. Okay. So why do we want to conjure lesbian love in the context of doing psychotherapy? I want to suggest that in doing lesbian affirmative psychotherapy, there's a tremendous importance, if you're, as a therapist, in holding a vision of the value of lesbian love when you're working with lesbian clients. That gay people and lesbians are subjected to annihilation and invisibility, and have really intense feelings of toxic shame and self-loathing inside coming into the therapeutic encounter. And one thing you can do as a therapist is hold that there's tremendous value in the fact that your client is a lesbian. Because often she's going to feel like, why did this happen to me? And I feel alienated from my family of origin. And so this is a way that you can hold the space. So one of the things I want to do here is to try to evoke some of that through talking about lesbians through history.